Hello and welcome. You're watching the Weekend Debate this Saturday night with me, Sanika, and with me in the Mumbai studios is Niranjan. Last week, we saw BJP's historic return to power in 3 northeastern states. Prime Minister Modi personally attended the swearing-in ceremonies of all the 3 CMs. Not just this, for the first time, a Prime Minister attended a meeting with ministers in one of the northeast states. Viewers, this is a remarkable shift in the way a mainstream political party of a government views the Northeast. The region that was once marginalized is now a prominent voice in national narrative.
On the other hand, we have seen a party and its leaders carry out what was called the Bharat Jodo Yatra. A yatra that didn't even touch the Northeast. It didn't go to the Northeast. Instead, the leader of this walkathon went abroad after the yatra, called for foreign interference on Indian soil, a direct attack on India's national integrity. So whether it's the abrogation of Article 370 or the mainstreaming of the Northeast, which has been done, who has done more for national integration? It's been one of the biggest talking points this entire week, and that's our debate this Saturday night on the Weekend Debate.
On the 7th of March, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with the Assam Chief Minister and his Council of Ministers. It was a rare instance of a PM chairing a state's cabinet meeting and showed the level of priority PM Modi gives to the Northeast. The Prime Minister also attended the swearing-in ceremonies of the 3 chief ministers from the Northeast. These actions have displayed the importance the state attaches to the Northeast of India.
By participating in all the 3 oath-taking ceremony and giving special time to Assam cabinet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji has strongly demonstrated that for him, in India's development story, Northeast is a very important element, and Northeast is actually Asta Lakshmi of this country.
Whether it was the Article 370 move,
और मैं दृढ़ मान्यता के साथ आया हूं कि धारा 370 हटाने में 1 सेकंड भी देरी नहीं करनी चाहिए.
to the mainstreaming of the Northeast.
आज सुबह से मैं जब टीवी देख पाया, इन चुनावों के नतीजे ही छाए रहे. ये सिर्फ दिलों की दूरी समाप्त होने का ही नहीं, बल्कि ये नई सोच का प्रतिबिंब है. अब नॉर्थ ईस्ट न दिल्ली से दूर है और न ही दिल से दूर है.
The Modi government has taken strides in integrating India. On the other hand, those who talk about Bharat Jodo have been seeking foreign intervention in Indian democracy.
The so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States, European countries, seem to just be oblivious that a huge chunk of the democratic model has come undone, right? Which is a real problem.
So who has done more for national integration? Let's debate.
Let's start with Kanchan Gupta, Senior Advisor, Minister of Information. He's a Senior Advisor in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India. Kanchan, thank you for joining us. This entire week we've had different statements being made by a leader of the opposition in different campuses in the UK, and he's talking about integrating India, uniting India. There seems to be a dichotomy in what he's been saying and what his party has been doing here in India.
I don't want to wade into the politics of it, but all I will say is that the running theme of the various speeches that he made in London and in Cambridge was that the opposition is not allowed to speak in India, and that there is some sort of there's an attempt by the government to choke opposition voices. Now that is absurd, because both outside Parliament and inside Parliament the opposition has had a free say, and if you just look at the media, the headlines, the debates, you will find that nearly the bulk of it is what the opposition says on a daily basis. Even Rahul, and then Rahul Gandhi says that he is not allowed to speak. Now, this entire yatra in which he participated or which he led, every few hours he was making all kinds of statements. It's a different matter. Much of it was so obtuse that even his audience could not understand what he was getting at. The second point which he makes, that parliamentary participation is denied to the opposition. Now, I have made public data from Parliament's database, which shows that Rahul Gandhi is a habitual absentee from Parliament. He does not participate in debates. He does not participate in question hour, and he does not participate on Fridays, which is a private member's day. So if you look at the data, you will find that his attendance is way below the national average, almost less than half of the national average, and it is further below the state average, the state which he represents, Kerala. Now, if you look at who are the MPs from Kerala, they are all opposition MPs, or they all sit in the opposition benches in Parliament. And if they have such a high attendance record, and then to say that the opposition is missing from Parliament, it's not true. The person missing from Parliament is Rahul Gandhi. The second data set shows participation in debates. Again, if you look at the national average, if you look at the state average, it is extremely high. So all the opposition MPs from Kerala have been participating in more than 2/3 of the debates. And Rahul Gandhi's own participation is a measly 6 debates. So in all of 5 years, he has participated in 6 debates. And for him to then say that I am not allowed to speak is a bit rich. The third point which he makes is that democracy is dying and democracy is dead in India, and he regrets the fact that America and Europe are not only not taking notice of it, but they are doing nothing about it. So basically he's trying to beat up this great myth that democracy is dying in India, that democracy is dead in India, and what he wants or he would like to see is American and European intervention in India. And I will just conclude by saying that if democracy were actually dying, or had it been dead, the Congress would not have won the Himachal Assembly election. It is another matter that the Congress won Himachal Pradesh Assembly election without Rahul Gandhi's participation. The only participation we saw was Rahul Gandhi basking in reflected glory on the day of swearing in of the new Himachal Chief Minister. So given this backdrop and the fact that recently we had elections in 3 key northeastern states, again it's a different matter that the Congress got wiped out, but we cannot argue the case case against democracy in India by using the example of Congress getting wiped out from the electoral landscape. The reasons for that are known to the Congress, and I would presume that even Rahul Gandhi is aware of those reasons. Thank you.
Mr. Kanchan Gupta, one question on, while we're talking about national integration, whether it was Article 370 that was abrogated by the Modi government in 2019, or, the recent move by the Prime Minister where he personally attended the swearing-in ceremonies of all the 3 chief ministers and then attended a meeting with the Council of Ministers of Assam. We've seen a marked shift in the policies of the government of the past and the present over mainstreaming of the Northeast. So where do you think Congress fell short in almost 6 decades in mainstreaming the Northeast and completely integrating India?
See, most people in India do not remember. And popular memory is proverbially short. That the Northeast, I mean, it was a legacy issue when India became free, when India became independent, and then when India became a republic. As a legacy, we had sort of inherited a disturbed northeastern region. And that was on account of the various policies, the various practices of the departing colonial British government. And it was admittedly not a very easy situation to deal with. But the approach which the government of India at that time adopted was frightening, it was scary. So between Nehru's very harsh approach, Nehru then, during the 1962 war, for instance, he had said that only God can save Assam now. And at that time, Arunachal was part of larger Assam. And the Prime Minister of India sort of wishing away Assam and wishing the people of Assam that may God come and save them. So it was it was a policy of abandonment, of abandoning people. So that had its own scar, that had its own impact. The second was Mrs. Gandhi's approach, which was much more harsh than Nehru's approach. She ordered the Indian Air Force, and that is the only time the Air Force has been used against the people of India. She ordered the Indian Air Force to go and shell villages in the Northeast. A third example which I will give you is the manner in which the central government treated this whole aspect of illegal immigration from Bangladesh into the Northeast, especially Assam, which has whose consequences are being felt now. It has dangerously changed the demography of the state in important border districts. Now, what was Mrs. Gandhi's response? She refused to act. Instead, she forced a state assembly election while the agitation against foreigners was going on. And there was a demand to revise the electoral rolls and weed out aliens from it. She forced an assembly election whose consequence was the Nelly massacre. So it's sad that people don't remember these details. Now, we are coming from a situation of such hostility, of a sense of alienation, of a sense of not being a part of the Indian mainland, the obsession which Indian prime ministers and governments have had with heartland politics, with mainland politics at the cost of ignoring the Northeast. Now, all that has changed in the last 8-9 years. The Prime Minister himself has visited almost 50 times the various northeastern states. Now, that's a record by itself. No other Prime Minister has thought it fit to visit these states so often. A special ministry was set up to coordinate projects, programs, and social welfare benefit schemes for the northeastern states. An effort was made to ensure that the northeastern states do not get excluded, or either wittingly or unwittingly, from flagship central schemes, and there are a number of them. So all these things together have given them a sense of belonging, and the fact that today the BJP wins so massively in Nagaland, the fact that the BJP today has a major political presence in Meghalaya. The fact that the BJP today has such a major presence in Arunachal, that in states like, and we can keep on talking about this, it shows that attitudes have changed. And when we talk of nationalism, when we talk of the nation state, nobody is excluded from it. It's an integrative approach, it is an inclusionary approach, and it is an approach that looks at India as a whole. And that is the difference between this government's concept of keeping the republic together and the Congress's idea of driving wedges into fault lines of the republic. Any republic, any democracy has fault lines around the world. But if you are going to pick on those fault lines and drive wedges into them, then you get a different result. If you sort of try and fill in those fault lines and you adopt an integrative approach, inclusionary approach, you get a different result.
Yeah. Kanchan Gupta, I think you're spot on there. Let me thank you at this point and introduce our panel on the weekend debate today. Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP, Sandeep Ghosh, author, political commentator, Ratan Sharda, political analyst, author, Sushil Pandit, columnist, social activist, Pankaj Sharma, senior journalist and former media advisor to former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Kamal Nath. Renu Mittal is a senior journalist, Shyam Prasad Meka, a Congress leader, joining us live from Hyderabad, and Manasvi Thapar, lawyer, political analyst. Complete the panel. Let me start. Okay, we have about 45 minutes to 1 hour. Each panelist will get time to speak. So let's take it one question at a time, one panelist at a time. And taking off from what Kanchan Gupta said about the change in approach, nearly 50 visits in 4 years, if I'm not wrong, since 2017. So that's about 6 years. The Prime Minister has visited the Northeast about 50 times in the last 6 years. And no other Prime Minister comes close to that, not just maybe as a statistic, but also in terms of projects, the work on the ground, our reporters and our teams which have reported from there, give us first-hand accounts. But you compare that, and let me start with Mr. Meka, Shyam Prasad Meka. See, the change, you speak about the approach. Why didn't this Bharat Jodo Yatra even consider the Northeast?
Okay, so Niranjan, first of all, let me clarify one thing. You might have your reasons, but for the benefit of your audience, the title or the promos of our discussion speak about a foregone conclusion rather than have a debate. That's the first thing. Second, okay, now coming to this. So why do you think Bharat Jodo Yatra ignored Northeast? Bharat Jodo Yatra is talking about mainly the economic disparities and the othering of people within our own country. And when these issues are taken, why do you think Northeast is ignored? Second, when only geographically or physically it is not traversed, since the yatra is from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. So why do we want to make an issue out of that? Next point is, so coming to the national integration, this is an effort of successive governments, including some of them are BJP and some of them are Janata Party, and successive governments have done their efforts and are continuing on the path of national integration. If somebody want to bask on the reflectivity of everybody's efforts and try to paint as if only one person is saving this great country, then that's for the people of this country to look at. So let's not worry about who did or whose credit it is. The successive governments have done a great work, and though they have learned from their mistakes as a state, Indian state have done some mistakes and learned from there. And if the Northeast is better integrated than earlier, it's good, it's a happy news. Now, why do we try to take this into Rahul Gandhi bashing? Rahul Gandhi has done his Bharat Jodo Yatra. Okay, you want to make an issue of his his interaction at the Cambridge. So we can talk about those. Why we are trying to make it a personality clash. Okay, if we want to make it a personality clash, let's do that. That there is a time and occasion for it. When elections comes in, we can do that. What Mr. Rahul Gandhi has done is he has clearly enunciated an alternative vision for India, apart from the current vision that is driving the India, that is emanating from Nagpur, from RSS. So he is successful in providing an alternative vision and let the people of the country consider both and then take their decisions. That's where we need to go, rather than making it a sort of a bullfight between two personalities, or being in a hurry to claim glory of national integration, in which actually the current BJP or their ancestors have no part in national integration or fighting for the freedom of this country, and we all know this. So we as a congressman, I'm not in a hurry to jump in and join this bullfight and argue with raised voices and emotional issues and diverting people's attention. That's not what I am as a congressman. So this is what our party is trying. We are providing an alternate vision of India, an alternate vision where not just the geographical boundaries of India, but the people of India work together and reclaim the greatness that this country should be having amongst the fraternity of the world democracies. That's what we are standing for.
So, Mr. Meka, Shehzad Poonawalla, I would like to bring you in at this point. Mr. Meka is saying that probably we shouldn't be making it a personality clash. It's definitely not a personality clash. It's an issue-based debate that we are having about national integration. So, Shehzad Poonawalla, how would you like to counter that point made by Meka, that the successive governments have worked for Northeast, and it's not just about what the Modi government is doing? How would you like to counter that?
Look, the Northeast elections were the first set of elections that took place after the culmination of the Bharat Jodo Yatra. Correct the echo, please. It's a little disturbing. And in the first three set of elections that took place after the Bharat Jodo Yatra, what we have seen is that a party like the BJP, which was only at 1.5% vote share in Tripura 10 years ago, today has gone to 38-39% vote share. And the Congress party, which was considered to be, the Northeast was considered to be the bastion of the Congress party, today it has gone to a historical low of last 10 years in Tripura, Nagaland and Meghalaya. And the reason why this has happened is because the Prime Minister, when he sends a scheme from the center, whether it's the Awas Yojana, the Nal Yojana, the Shauchalaya Yojana, the Ayushman Bharat Yojana, it goes to Madhav and Mohit and it goes to Matthew. It goes to Sandra, Sunita and Sultana. No discrimination is made. But let me tell you, this Bharat Jodo Yatra, it started with whom? George Ponaiya. The same George Ponaiya who said that I will not even stand on Bharat Mata, I will wear shoes because Bharat Mata will infect me. He spewed venom against Hindus. Who was coordinating the Bharat Jodo Yatra leg? In Delhi, it was Jagdish Taitler who was responsible for the massacre of the Sikhs in 1984. What is the history of the Congress party? The Congress party has done riots after riots, whether it's Hashimpura, Bhagalpur, Meerut, Malyana, Bombay, whether it is Ahmedabad, Jalgaon, Delhi. These are the historical riots of the Congress party under which thousands and thousands of people got massacred. And today the Congress party talks about saving and protecting institutions, and it goes on foreign soil and tries to run an agenda against the country at a time when the entire world is looking at India. G20 is being hosted in India. IMF is saying that India is a global bright spot in the world economic, at a time of darkness in the world economy. At that time, Rahul Gandhi goes on a soil of Britain, the same country that ruled us for 200 years. And ironically, Britain is being led by a person of Indian origin, and he says that he wants direct intervention of Europe, US and other countries into our internal affairs. And this is not the first time he's done that. He has done that even with Nicholas Burns. Pakistan, Mr. Manishankar Ayyar has gone and said that please interfere in our democracy and help us depose Mr. Modi because we do not like him as Prime Minister. So time and again, this is the level to which they stoop in Vyakti Virod. It is they who resort to Desh Virod. And today, I am saying leave everything else. this was the election where maximum minorities, the Christian minority, the tribals were participating, yet the Congress party का complete सफाया हो गया और कमल फिर से यहाँ पर खिलकर आया. This in itself shows that people have rejected the idea of Congress and the idea of BJP, which is the idea of Hira. Highways, infrastructure, roadways and connectivity and working for the Aam Aadmi. This idea has been accepted and therefore you're seeing what has happened in the Northeast.
Okay, okay, I'll take your point on the Northeast, but you mentioned something interesting. Yeah, I'm coming to Mr. Meka. I want to ask him a counter question. You mentioned Sunita, Sandra and what was the third one? Third name, Sultana. You said, so 1 minute, did you say that again?
Sultana.
Yeah. Sultana, okay. Sunita, Sandra, Sultana.
I said,
1 minute, I got your point.
Madhav, Mohit,
I got your,
Sultana,
I got your point.
Sandra.
Okay, I got your point.
Yeah.
Now, my counter question to you is it national integration, Shehzad, when a BJP MLA in an election-bound state, I'll take your point on Northeast, I'm leaving that aside. When a BJP MLA in Karnataka poll-bound, Basavaraj Yatnal, says, all MLAs ask me in your constituency there are 1 lakh Tipu Sultans. When he says 1 lakh Tipu Sultans, he's speaking about 1 lakh Muslims. And then he says, all MLAs ask me in your constituency, how is it that a descendant of Shivaji Maharaj won from Bijapur? And then he says, henceforth in Bijapur, none of the followers of Tipu Sultan will win, only followers of Shivaji Maharaj will win here. Even by mistake, you should not cast your vote to, he uses the word Sabrus in Kannada, but it's Muslims. He says, none of you should vote for Muslims. Now you tell me, is this also national integration?
Niranjan, very good question. As a Muslim, my role model is not Tipu Sultan or Aurangzeb. My role model is not Mughals. My role model is APJ Abdul Kalam. My role model is Ustad Bismillah Khan. My role model is Veer Abdul Hamid. But those who consider Tipu and Aurangzeb to be their role models, they are the ones who are affected by the statement. And what is wrong in the statement?
What is wrong?
That Tipu Sultan destroyed temples?
No,
is it not true that he converted?
Referred to all Muslims
as...
Is
it not true that Tipu Sultan used the force of the sword to convert people?
Are you defending it? Shehzad, are you really defending it?
To destroy temples? Is it not true that Aurangzeb is a bigot?
Are you really defending it?
Look, I am saying that okay, let me put it this way. Are you the follower of Shivaji Maharaj or are you the follower of Aurangzeb? Are you the follower of APJ Abdul Kalam? Are you the follower
Not
of
follower, he didn't say follower. I told you he didn't say follower. There are 1 lakh Tipu Sultans. There are 1 lakh Tipu Sultans.
That is religion neutral. Even Siddaramaiah is a follower of Tipu Sultan.
Okay.
Even DK Shivkumar is a follower of Tipu Sultan.
Okay, we're diverting. I won't get into that.
Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. And I'll tell you why.
Mr. Meka, I'll give you a turn, sir. Please don't speak over.
Why are you jumping in the middle? Please don't jump in the middle. I'll tell you why. For 65 years in this country, George's cross was on the naval ensign of this country. Today we have replaced it with the Nishan of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Who is the follower of George's cross and who is the follower of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj? Who was the one who was crying for Rajpath? And we have named it Kartavya Path, and now there's a big statue of Netaji. Who was opposing when we renamed the Aurangzeb Road as APJ Abdul Kalam Road? And who was crying bitterly when Mughal Gardens has been renamed as Amrit Udyan? We must take pride in our cultural heritage. And for 70 years, the history of this country has been distorted. We must make the correction that because when we have to build the Vikas ki building, the foundation of it has to be deep, and we have to go back to our roots. And our roots come from Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Our roots come from
probably that's another debate. That's another debate altogether on how.
I thought you would. Okay, anyway, Sarika, continue. We'll come back to this.
That's a debate. That's another debate altogether, Niranjan, on how probably we are overcoming the colonial hangover.
The role model of Congress Party.
This is about national integration. I was talking about a communal statement. How do you integrate a country by making communal statements, asking for people not to vote for Muslims? Come on, Shehzad, you're diverting now.
Niranjan, Niranjan, I want to quickly.
Okay, 30 seconds rebuttal.
Statement been made. He has said that I don't want followers of Tipu Sultan. I want followers of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. But we must celebrate this statement.
No.
We must all follow Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the most secular ruler of this country.
No, sir, he did not say votes. He said I have 1 lakh Tipu Sultans, and he's asking people not to vote for Muslims. Come on, Shehzad, there are some things you can defend, some things you can't. You can't defend this. It's a communal statement. Okay, let's leave it at that. Sanika.
Yeah. So in fact, I would like to go across to Pankaj Sharma next.
Sanika,
Yes.
30 seconds.
30
Okay,
seconds.
30 seconds to you, Mr. Meka. Yes.
Yeah, see, quickly, one point is, let's not look at everything from only the electoral prism. That's not what is politics about. Elections can be lost, can be won, that's a different thing. Let's do our politics. Second, only one point is, we're talking about culture, reclaiming the pride in our own culture. For that matter, not just for 75 years. For centuries, the culture of the Dalit Bahujans or the owners of this country was subverted, and the Brahminical culture is painted on this country. What about that?
Sir, you're
we are
getting into
that.
sir.
We are questioning that.
Now you're getting into another.
Whose culture are we talking about?
Now,
Culture is
sir,
about
this
the
is not.
people of this country.
Sir,
Not some parties or not some organizations define the culture of this country. This country's culture is defined by the people of this country.
Why are you trying to push this Brahminical?
Niranjan, just give me 10 seconds.
One second. This is not.
Niranjan.
Okay.
Give me 10 seconds.
Okay. We're diverting, but yeah, 10 seconds. But
I'm not diverting.
Niranjan,
I'm
taken aback.
actually mainstreaming the topic.
10 seconds.
You are the...
Mr.
Let him respond to you.
Mr. Deka. Mr. Deka.
Meka,
if I
Meka.
get your name correctly,
Meka.
Mr. Deka.
Meka,
Yeah.
Meka.
Mr. Deka. Mr. Meka. Mr. I'm sorry, I don't have a screen in front of me. I have not heard of his name before. That's why I'm having some confusion. But anyways, can you please tell me what is the caste that Mr. Rahul Gandhi was brandishing if you are against so-called Brahminical forces? He says that I am the most Ucha Koti ka call Brahmin, and that time you think that is okay, and now you are coming and spewing venom against Brahmins in general.
I don't care what
then you must correct it in your own by
I
second.
don't come here to hate some caste.
No, you don't
So
care.
come here to hate some
Suddenly
caste.
you don't care. But for so many years, they were the leaders of your party.
We
Now,
don't
secondly,
care for the
one
individual
Prime Minister of this
castes and all
country
that.
said that the
That's
first right
the job
of
of
resources should be
BJP.
for
That's
Muslims.
the modus operandi of your
First
party
right of
and
resources
their
should be
organization.
for Muslims. This was the statement of a Prime Minister. Is this communal integration
We
or is this
stand by the
communal
values
bullshit?
of the constitution of this
Those
country.
who said that Bada Ped Girta Hai, Dharti Hilti Hai for 1984 riots. Is this communal integration or
Those
is
who
this
said
communal division?
everybody
Those who
cannot
take
constitute
Jagdish
a
Titler for
nation,
planning
only
of Bharat
religion
Jodo.
can
Communal
constitute a nation.
integration or communal
Those who
division?
said that are ruling this country today, and you are sitting here to defend
Okay,
them.
don't divert, sir. We've taken, sir, first of all, you've taken over 30 seconds, and you're making it about caste. I'm really shocked that you said that because your party says Rahul is a
Janeyudhari Brahman.
Janeyudhari Brahman. They've said it. We didn't say it, sir. I don't know what you're talking. You're spewing, sir. If you have a problem with Brahmins, okay, it's okay. It's okay. If your party,
I'm not saying I have a problem with Brahmins. I am saying the Brahminical Manuvadi thinking that is
Sir,
dominating
I'm
this
really-
country as a dominating narrative.
No, it's not, sir. It's not. I don't know. We have a tribal prime minister. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know where.
When Shahjad is claiming
Okay.
the ownership of culture for BJP,
Sir, culture
now
and
I'm
caste-
actually claiming it for the multitudes of people of this country.
Okay, sir. Can I just broad base it because we have 6 other speakers who haven't come in. 6 other speakers haven't come in. I just want to bring them in. Okay. Now let me bring in Sandeep Ghosh and Ratan Sharda, and I'll get Renu Mittal and Pankaj to respond. Right. Now, does asking for foreign interference on Indian soil really integrate India? Now, sir, looking at some of the comments that have been made in the last week, because it's a contrast whatever he's been saying. Okay, Sandeep, you can come in, right? You look at the comments that, okay, because Meka spoke about...
Can I come in, Niranjan?
Yeah, 1 minute. I want to give Sandeep Ghosh the first opportunity to speak, and then you can respond to him, right? Okay, I'm diverting a little bit. Look at this comment that has been made, right? Because Meka said that a leader, Sandeep, asked Prime Minister Modi, and he said, I ask you, why does our Prime Minister wear all sorts of outlandish headgear? Because I'm only talking about the Northeast and mainstreaming of the Northeast and the attitudes of a few parties towards the Northeast especially over the last few decades. He said, and he referred to the Naga headgear as outlandish headgear wherever he goes around the country. He said you see him in Naga headgear with feathers, and he mocked it, right? Do you see the attitude here being the biggest hindrance in the integration of the country over the last few decades?
Yeah, I will start by just making a small disclaimer that, I'm not here for any political party. Neither am I a BJP member, nor anybody in my family has ever been, or an RSS member. I'm talking purely politically like a citizen of India. I like one very nice term Mr. Meka used called othering. It is that othering is what has happened to Northeast all these years. And that is what you are seeing in terms of the correction which is happening. I don't care about what Rahul Gandhi has spoken in London, elsewhere, or people are speaking here. This is what the people in the Northeast are picking up. And the reflection of that, which you are seeing whether in terms of voting for the regional parties or BJP making a foray out there, I think is a reflection of that whole othering mentality. And imagine, Mr. Khadge at the end of the election said those are small states, don't matter. Mr. Jairam Ramesh referred to Mukul Sangma, calling him Judas, not realizing that Meghalaya is a Christian-dominated state, and you make a statement like calling Apurna Sangma, who was treated very shabbily by the Congress, his son calling him Judas. So these are things which have made the Northeast feel othered, and that is the change which is happening. And what you're seeing, whether in the Northeast or in Kashmir, is the change which is happening. I don't have a problem what Rahul Gandhi goes and says in London, but could he say, yes, I'm finding today the atmosphere in Kashmir has changed. That's why for the first time I've been able to go there, walk around freely, play in the snow, do snowboarding, etc. And the whole atmosphere has changed without getting into who has done it, who has not done it. Why couldn't this be done since 1984? That needs to get acknowledged, and that is the difference which people are not making out, and that is where the othering is happening. And when you're talking, finally coming back to your question, Niranjan, about the headgear or this thing, sometimes it strikes even people like us. Why does Narendra Modi have to wear the local outfits wherever he goes? But that is again another point people miss. The kind of connect he is doing over there with people, I think that matters for the local people. Somebody sitting in Delhi might feel anything is outlandish, can talk about something else. Somebody else, seeing some other outfit may consider it out. But what is the message being conveyed to the people out there? And if you say that, yes, I can wear your headgear with as much pride, and I love wearing it, that's a huge statement for the people of that region. And these are facts which I think people miss out there, and I think that is where we have a major problem between Congress's walk and the talk, literally.
Yes, Manasvi, I believe you wanted to make a point, but with the kind of comments that even Mr. Sandeep Ghosh has made, would you acknowledge that there is something right that the Modi government has done so as to mainstream and so as to mainstream the Northeast and not alienate it or marginalize it like the previous governments or in the last 6 decades, like it was done in the last 6 decades? Would you acknowledge that, Manasvi?
Yeah, this is very interesting to know that of the 14 Prime Minister India have had, 13 Prime Minister did not do anything from Northeast. Let's just go back to the basics. The reality is the Brahmaputra Valley Fertilizer Corporation was started by Congress in 1961. In 1962, Assam Oil Corporation was started. Boingon Thermal Power Station was started in 1963. These were a part of Jawaharlal Nehru. Let's go back to Indira Gandhi, her contribution for Northeast. It has been created as a narrative that the Congress and all the other Prime Ministers, of which 6 were not from the Congress region, have done nothing in this country. It is only the Prime Minister. I believe all my Prime Ministers have contributed the best of their abilities for Northeast. Now coming back to Indira Gandhi. In 1975, she started NHPC. In 1973, she inaugurated 31 NH 40 was inaugurated for a better connectivity between Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. In 1985, Brahmaputra Cracker and Polymer Limited was started, which is one of the largest polymer companies in India, petrochemical companies in India. Rajiv Gandhi in 1983 started Northeastern Regional Technology. 1986, an Assam Gas Cracker Project was started. In 1988, Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya was started. In 1989, Northeastern Technological Mission was started. In 1990, the largest railway road bridge was inaugurated, known as Bogibel Bridge. These were all parts of Congress. Now coming back to one more basic, Northeastern states have been disturbed. The 22nd state, which is known as the Sikkim state, was not a part of India. It was Indira Gandhi, which negotiated with the then ruler, Chogalia rulers, and bought Sikkim to a part of India. Winning elections is a different thing. Yes, BJP is winning election. That does not mean Congress or other prime ministers have not contributed for building northeastern states. It has been a joint efforts of everyone. The narrative which has been set, the past prime ministers have not done anything. The 6 decades northeastern states have not been done, have not given any developmental projects, have been a wrong narrative. The railways, the infrastructure development, the bridges, the roads, all were planned of it. In 2004, Northeastern region vision was started by Manmohan Singh. So these were all parts of developmental projects for Northeast. Every prime minister have contributed it. Why are we trying to paint in a way that Northeastern states did not exist before 2014?
No,
let's not do that.
No, we're not
let's
saying
not
that.
do that.
No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that. With all due respect to all prime ministers in the past, we are saying, you know, when you're talking about national integration. Yeah. Okay, Sandeep, I'll give you 30 seconds. Sandeep, quick intervention. I want to bring in the others.
20 seconds. But he somehow stopped after Rajiv Gandhi, you know. We remember in the time of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, a donor ministry was set up. And after donor ministry was set up, thereafter another 10 years, there was somebody who was elected, those from the Rajya Sabha from Northeast as the Prime Minister of India.
Yeah.
And I would like to know a little more about his contribution during that period and why after that period of having a Prime Minister from that state, why was Congress defeated so squarely out there? If this will be a very, very, and you know, donor, what did it do during those tenure of the Prime Minister when it was there, which was set up by his predecessor?
One quick, I want to ask, I want to bring in Ratan Sharda and Ratan Sharda also in along with Sushil Pandit. Yeah, wait. I have 4 speakers who haven't spoken here. Manasvi, hold on. Manasvi, I'll let you can say just one. I'll ask you a question. You give me a one-word answer. How many times did Manmohan Singh visit Nagaland as Prime Minister? I'll tell you.
Can we also talk on his contribution?
No, I said one word answer. You don't know the answer. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I'll tell you. It's okay. It's fine not to know. It's fine not to. It's fine. It's okay. Even I don't know many things. We're all human.
How many times?
Listen to me.
How many times Atalji visited Nagaland?
1 minute.
This is not how many times you visit. How many times my Prime Minister visited?
Okay. Let me tell you one thing. No, I'll tell you one thing. No. See, it's not a debate between. It's not a debate between you and me. The BJP will debate with you. But I'm just putting some facts. Factual debate, Manasvi, hold on. I want to bring in 2 other. 4 panelists haven't spoken. 1 minute. 4 panelists haven't spoken. 4 panelists haven't spoken. Manasvi, I told you everyone will get a chance to speak. Please don't heckle. See, Manmohan Singh visited Nagaland, I'll tell you how many times. Once to campaign for Congress in 2008. Once. Okay? Manmohan Singh used to visit Tripura with a gap of 3 years to inaugurate. 1 minute. Wait. With a gap of 3 years to inaugurate projects, right? And the Act East policy, right? The Act East policy brought forward a development agenda in the Northeast. Have you been to the Northeast lately? Have you seen the highways connecting the states? And have you asked when the works actually began? Let me bring in Pankaj and Ratan Sharda. Pankaj, you've heard the question. You can respond and Ratan Sharda will respond to you.
See, hollow symbolism and making serious efforts for national integration are 2 different things. National integration actually has never been on Narendra Bhai Modi's priority in 9 years. He either thinks that everything is so smooth that there is no need of making any special efforts to integrate the Indian society, or he doesn't care at all to handle this very important aspect. See, are you aware that there used to be a National Integration Council? Do you know that not a single meeting of this council has been convened after Modi ji became Prime Minister? Last meeting was 16th after its formation, and it was held on 23rd September 2013. That meeting was attended by chief ministers and eminent persons from different walks of life who were members of the council, such as Rajnath Singh ji, Mayawati ji, Sonia Gandhi ji, Anand Mahendra, Cyrus Mistry, Ajim Prem ji, Rajshri Birla, Shobna Bharatiya, Arun Puri, Jaya Bachchan. Now, just because the council was the brainchild of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who constituted in 1961, Modi has thrown the whole idea of finding ways and means to combat the evils of communism, casteism, and other linguism and narrow-mindedness through the council to the dustbin. Many years ago, in a reply to a question, government said in the parliament that reconstitution of the National Integration Council is under the consideration. Can you please tell me what happened to that? No one knows what happened to National Integration Council in 9 years. So this is the seriousness of our Prime Minister over the issues of national integration. This is the reality.
Okay, but with all of that, Sanika, just pulling out a data here, with all of this council, etc., that he spoke of, we are hearing that under the UPA between 2009 and 2014, just 1,000 kilometers of roads were built in the northeast compared to 2,731 kilometers of national highways between 2014 and 2019. So let me bring in Ratan Sharda now. Ratan Sharda, the question is, do highways integrate India, or creating a language divide and making comments about headgear unite India?
Well, Niranjan, I have so many things to answer because I come very late. After listening to so many people, I made some points. I hope I can cover all of them. First of all, Pankaj is now officially Congress member. So to come as a journalist is actually not correct.
No, so it's fine, Ratan Sharda. That's some.
Now coming to actual.
Some of them prefer. No, some of them prefer it's a political answer.
It is not personal attack.
It's
a description.
It's okay.
When I am called an RSS person, I am called an author. I am. That's my only point. Limited point. Now coming to what Pankaj has talked about National Integrated Council, all these integration councils, all these paper talking shops don't work. If they were working, would have national integration long years back. Because intentions have to be good, they have to be done on the ground, which was not done. I will, close this Northeast comment very shortly. I will not make a huge, song and dance about Northeast. But people won't remember that there used to be 72-hour blockades to Manipur and many other places, regular bunds in Northeast, which never became a news. There used to be protection money paid to tea garden owners, from tea garden owners, official tax receipts are supplied to these people, and when some corporate was caught paying money, they were prosecuted, not the people who got the money. And this was a time when you could not hoist tricolor, you could not sing Vande Mataram and Janagana Man in any place. From there, the situation has changed so much. There was agitation for royalty to be paid to Assam for fuel. Do we know that? We talk a refinery, khol diya, ye kar diya, sir. They were not paid royalty, though the natural gas came from Assam. They are not being paid royalty. That is also truth. Now, coming to the larger issue about national integration, I'll go back to what Mr. Meka said. Yes, it's not a question of personality. It is a question of ideology. What is the ideology? Ideology of Congress is that India is a union of states. It was never one nation. It was brought together by Mr. Nehru with the help of Mr. Mountbatten. Before 1947, India was just a free-for-all kind of place where there was no nation. While I claim and BJP claims and Modi ji claims that this is a 10,000-year-old documented history of Bharat, which is a continuous civilization, continuous geopolitical, cultural nation. It is proved that 12 Jyotirlingas all around Bharat, 15 Jyoti Peeths all around Bharat, 5 sacred Gurdwaras all over Bharat, Panch Pyares from all over Bharat. This is the history of Bharat. So Bharat culturally is always a nation right from time memorial, from Chandragupta Maurya, Chanakya to the present day. This is the basic vision. And I say this is why it should be not personally oriented, but Rahul Gandhi represents that particular ideology. He spoke about it outside India, inside India. So he's being named. He's not being named because he's a Papu. He's being named because very wisely he made a statement in London and all over the world and including India. Coming to the vision of national integration, when the Congress says it's a Brahminical structure, it's not a Congress language. It is a language of a new left, of anarchists, of people who want to break India into pieces. These are the people who stood against CAA with people who misguided the agitation and created riots. These are the people who indirectly supported Khalistani elements during farmer agitation for want of some support somewhere and creating chaos. So this entire approach is that India is not important, and you have a view where Congress felt that North was never a part of India, It was a time when Congress felt Kashmir was never a part of India. When you start with the premise that Northeast and Kashmir are forcibly attached to India and they need special treatment, you don't believe in India's integrity. You forget that Kashmir has a 4,000-year-old history of being part of India, as part of a Hindu kingdom and part of the larger Bharat. You don't believe that Northeast has a long history, including Mahabharat and old Puranas, including Tripura's 1,000-year-old history of alliance with Indian kings in Bharat, of Mahabharat, of Idumishmi tribe, which believes that Rukmini belonged to them. And recently, Modi ji in 2016 had a program where they came to Gujarat, where Dwarka is. So this is sense of integration. You talk of South. Nehru ji believed in Aryan origin theory. So you have another part of India, most important critical part of India, the Dravid section, which is Dravid means covered from three sides by sea, that they believe is not part of India. So when you start with the Aryan origin theory as a foundation of India, you already don't believe India is one. So with the premise that neither Northeast nor South are part of India, it was a confederation brought together by British by force. You don't believe in India's national integration. That is the difference between Congress and Modi ji's government and RSS vision of Bharat. And he said that what BJP has done for integration of India, sir, BJP was not born. Yes, RSS was there, was fighting in partition for protection of Hindu Sikhs, not part of national integration, for fighting for the abolition of 370 and laying down the lies for army in 47 attack on India by Pakistan in Kashmir, not a part of national integration. So please stop repeating the same lies, same stories, and stop being so blithe about what is India's integration.
Yes.
This is the failure, and this is how vision of India has changed from Northeast to entire India. When Kashi improves, you have a Kashi Tamil Sangam. Imagine, did anybody thought about it? The closing of Kashi with Tamil was brought up by Modi ji. Did anybody care about it? Today you go to Banaras, you find people from all over the world going there. When you talk about Assam as Prag Jyotishpur as part of Mahabharat, you realize it was a last single entity of Bharat. So let us come down to Indian history, not follow the thoughts of Macaulay or thoughts of people who said that Indo-Aryan invasion theory. And let us not talk about people who believe that India has never been a state.
Yes.
Macaulay put that idea in our head and we have become colonial slaves. Entire Indian history, entire approach to India's problems are related to our believing in Macaulay's colonial way of thinking and British thinking.
Yeah.
We should come out of this Greenwich time thinking, think of Ujjain as the center of the universe, as the zero latitude line, you will understand what India is.
Yes, and Mr. Ratan Shah, as you were making a point, we could see Renu Mittal vigorously nodding her head, and she's been not in the. It's time for it's time for her to speak now because she's been trying to make a point. So Renu Mittal, do you think that who's going on foreign soil and calling for foreign intervention and saying that democracy is under attack, isn't that an attack on national integrity?
You see, what has been happening here is that, let's take this panel for example. This panel is repeating the same narrative that Mr. Modi used for so many years when he went abroad to every city in the world and ran down India and said we are ashamed to be Indians because we don't feel that that nothing has been done since before I came to power, that is 2014. So this panel, most of these guys who are basically from the BJP and have the same rhetoric and the same narrative are repeating the same thing again and again, whether it's on the Northeast or whether it's all parts of the country. Now the Northeast has a history. It has a culture of going with whichever party is in power at the center. So when the results were coming in of these three states, we were all laughing and joking and saying whoever wins doesn't matter because these guys in any case will go with the BJP. So BJP will break some of the parties, they'll bring them on board, or they will align with parties whom they rejected, like in Meghalaya. Comrade Sangma was a very corrupt man, so they didn't align with him. But then they decided that, that after the results, when they got only 2 seats, that they would come in and align with him and form the government. So you have this great narrative where 3 states have gone into the BJP's kitty. Now, Congress I am not defending, because Congress has its own problems, why it doesn't focus on elections, why it doesn't focus on its organization, why it has not been making office bearers and not focusing and campaigning the way that BJP does. It's a fact. BJP has been ruthlessly campaigning on elections all over the country, whether it's northeast or any other part. The Prime Minister is like a election going machinery. He is full time focused on elections, which is a good thing for his party and for him. But the fact is that northeast is a different ball game. So when you're talking about 50 visits and you're talking about this and nobody has done anything, this is the same narrative that Prime Minister Modi has been talking about on every visit. He is even campaigning for Trump. You know, ugly baat Trump Sarkar. What can be worse than this? So when you talk about Rahul Gandhi, now let's talk about Rahul Gandhi. He's raised certain issues when he's gone abroad. Is it not a fact that his mic was switched off a number of times? Is it not a fact that the Speaker of the Lok Sabha deleted his speech because he was asking about facts on Mr. Adani? I mean, is it wrong or is it anti-national to speak about Mr. Adani? Prime Minister and the government did not bother to respond to any of the charges. On top of that, the speech has been made to look like it has no business to exist on the annals of on the Lok Sabha. So I'm saying that these are things which are happening. You can take any number of examples of what is happening. Now, if the opposition calls for unity to fight the 2024 elections together, each one of them is targeted individually and collectively. Look at Mr. Stalin. There has been an entire program has been launched to say that he is against migrants and that Biharis are being threatened and all kinds of things. And the guy's gone blue in the face to say that no, it's not true. It's all fake. Look at Mr. Lalu. Look at Tejasvi. Look at what's her name? That Kavita. Look at any number of opposition leaders. You know, a Congress program is being held in Chhattisgarh, and you are reading the ministers. What kind of a message is Mr. Modi sending? I mean, what kind of politics is he doing? He's talking about democracy. Is this democracy? You fight elections, you campaign, you do what you like, you bring your programs. But why do you want to terrorize others? You don't want opposition unity, that's the only way. What happened in 2014? What does the data tell you? Everybody here talks about data. What is the percentage of vote that the BJP got? Less than 30%. So when you are talking about an entire combined opposition, the idea is that Mamta should not come. Look, you gave everybody enough time.
No,
we had all these speeches,
go ahead.
About how great Mr. Modi is and how he's done a lot of things. You know, why I agree, he's done a lot of things. He has done things which many others, you know, historically, naming a stadium after yourself while you're still alive, these are all issues which Mr. Modi has been doing. Now the fact is that Mr. Modi, you know, these are all like Shehzad, what's his name? Poonawala. He comes with this narrative every time. It's like a repetition. Yeah, it's like a repetition. वो मतलब आरती उतारना है, वो repeat करता रहता है, same thing. Some of these other guys are doing the same thing. You are told you have to speak this. You are told how great Modi is. Talk facts. What is wrong with what Rahul Gandhi
1 minute,
has
please.
said
Let her complete.
I don't defend Rahul Gandhi, but to repeatedly call him Pappu and all, although you can call names for others also, but he has a name. Be civilized. You know, some of the panelists appearing on your channel, I mean, they are totally lacking in civility. This lady says, tell that woman to shut up. Like in the
Who said that?
So I'm saying that let's be civil in our discourse. Of course. Yeah, I'll tell you the name. She was there. So the fact is that Congress is come down to 44 seats in the last election and 52 in this election because of their own problems. The arrogance of power which brought the Congress to this stage is something that I think is going to grip the BJP also. Because if you don't stay in tune with the people, you will come to the stage where the Congress is. So don't keep repeating these lies. Oh, what a great thing that Modi has done. What all he has done. He has been campaigning, fine. Apart from that, what? So Northeast is a different ball game. Let's see. Suppose the BJP is out of power, maybe next election or the election after that, let's see which way the Northeast turns. It's one of the compulsions of their existence.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's true. Breaking parties, breaking entire parties and taking them on board. Is that democracy?
Yeah, TMC did that in Meghalaya, by the way, just FYI.
Either America...
They took over the Congress party. They took over the Congress party.
Everybody is learning from each other, na?
Yeah.
Congress
Even in Goa they did that. Yeah.
BJP has learned a lot of things from Congress.
Just one second.
What about Mr. Bhajanlal?
You've made about 5 points. If I can quickly come in, because one of our panelists still hasn't spoken. Renu, one of our panelists hasn't spoken yet. Quickly,
Sushil Pandit.
Sushil Pandit hasn't spoken. You made 5 points. I actually, because you spoke of data, you spoke about facts. While you were speaking, I took down 5 points. I'm going backwards, okay? One of the last points you made was they call him Pappu, etc. Right? Now, okay, people have been calling him names, which is wrong, but the Congress leaders themselves on the floor of the House on record are saying that he's battling and has battled successfully the Pappu image. Okay? It was Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary who said that. Point number one. And I'm going back. You made another point saying parties are repetitive. Everybody on the top of the screen is saying the exact same thing. Everybody in the opposition, always when they come on debates, say the exact same thing. I can make a loop and send it to you. Point number two. Point number three, you spoke about Stalin and the recent controversy. Let me tell you one thing. You as a journalist, please tell me if I'm right, if I'm wrong, if this is data or if this is fiction. Whether Stalin's son, Udayanidhi Stalin, wore a t-shirt as part of a campaign saying Tamil Theriyadu, or I don't know, Hindi Theriyadu Poda, if I'm not wrong. Hindi Theriyadu Poda. Saying I don't know Tamil, please go. And didn't people from his government, ministers say Hindi speaking people sell pani puris in different districts of Tamil Nadu? Okay? Is that a fact or not? And you also mentioned one more thing. You said they will break parties. We knew they will come back to power. Tripura, they've come back to power on their own. Nagaland, the same alliance has come back to power. In Meghalaya, even at the time of going to elections, while they were attacking each other, they were still in the government. So that's my counter to you on some of the facts that you claim. And coming back to national integration, which is the actual debate that we are having today, 1 minute. National integration, the actual debate we are having today. I want to bring in Sushil Pandit. He hasn't spoken. He's been sitting, patiently. With Article 370 abrogation, who integrated India? And by giving Pakistan a clean sheet, did you unite the country or insult your brave hearts? You said Modi ka propaganda hai. Okay, let me mention. Okay, let's not talk about Modi. Okay, forget about Modi for a minute. Please tell me about Nehru. Okay, Sushil, tell me if I'm factually wrong. Did Nehru delay and almost derail Jammu and Kashmir's ascension?
I'll answer your question, but please, there is an echo, kindly correct it.
Yeah, we'll correct that.
First of all, Poda is not go. Po is go in Tamil. When you say Hindi Theriyadu Poda means buzz off, scoot. It is pejorative way to ask somebody to just go away. Okay? That is what it means. Coming back to Nehru, yes, this is part of his Himalayan blunders that Kashmir was gifted, almost 40% of it, when on 1st January 1949, a unilateral ceasefire was called. These days, apologists are trying to hunt for excuses like letters from General Roy Butcher advising Nehru. Now, who was General Roy Butcher? Roy Butcher was head of the Indian Army, a British head. It is very well known that Britishers didn't want Kashmir to come to India, and they were straining. In fact, this war was imposed by the British officers on India. There is an entire documentation now. Even Ministry of Defense has published a book. And you can see how General Mesavi, who was head of the Pakistani army, was planning this invasion way back in July itself, while the invasion was launched in October, on 22nd of October. So if Nehru gifts away such a huge chunk of Jammu and Kashmir to Pakistan, who should we blame? Shouldn't we blame Nehru? The lady in the other window says that you are terrorizing opposition. Now, terrorizing opposition, means that if opposition leaders indulge in liquor scam, they should not be hauled up. Is that what terrorizing is? Terrorizing opposition means that if they indulge in corruption, in corporate jiggery-pokery, and they have to be out on bail, we should not actually launch any prosecutions so that mother and son don't have to come to the court and apply for a bail. This is terrorizing opposition. Opposition has to behave itself. Being an opposition leader is not a license to corrupt polity, to fill up your coffers, to loot public money. And if you do that, you have to be hauled up. And if you carry this tale, weeping and screaming to foreign audiences that we are being terrorized, then God help you. Nehru is not the only one who is guilty in Kashmir, even Mrs. Gandhi. After our armed forces won us a 1971 historic war, we lost all the advantages in 1972 Shimla Agreement. We returned every inch of territory. We gave up 93,000 prisoners of war for nothing. We didn't even retrieve our own more than 50 officers in Pakistani jails. And they went mad. They rotted in those jails, and we don't know what happened to them. Likewise, there was no settlement of Kashmir issue, except the nomenclature change of ceasefire line turning into line of control. We got nothing. Time and again in Kashmir, successive Congress governments completely ruined the place. And in this Bharat Jodo Yatra, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is led by a mufti with a Abdullah in tow, is trying to tell the world that he is jodoing Bharat. I mean, you have to be a little more serious about it. He has in his ranks some of the old pro-Pakistani politicians who say that in Kashmir, we are committing a genocide of Muslims. On record, they have said that. And they are tolerated in the party. His name is Mr. Karra. He's the son of Ghulam Muhyiddin Karra, who was a very well-known pro-Pakistani politician all his life. So you have to, in fact, take a reality check. You cannot be one-size-fits-all t-shirt to everyone. You have to take a clear stand on issues before you open your mouth and take these sanctimonious positions.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Can I just 30 seconds?
Yeah, Shehzad wanted to come in after that. Yes,
Yeah, Shehzad.
Before Shehzad comes, just 30 seconds. I want to make a political statement.
It's been a very long time. May I just come in very quickly?
Quickly.
Okay, sir, you have an honor. You are National Party spokesperson.
Niranjan, now first of all, there was somebody who has been a has-been journalist who said that the contributions of other prime ministers aren't recognized. In fact, this is the government that made an entire museum for the recognition of all prime ministers. But earlier, before this, we have seen Jawaharlal Nehru Memorial, we have seen Indira Memorial, we have seen Rajiv Memorial, but never has tribute been paid to even their own party leaders like Sardar Patel. And today, when Sardar Patel is being given a tribute, or when Bhagwan Birsa Munda is being given a tribute, or Baba Saheb Ambedkar is being given a tribute under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, not a single congressman participates in that. Now, secondly, those who talk about integrating Bharat, uniting Bharat,
now, who are you calling
are they principally against the abrogation of Article 370?
Who are you calling a has-been journalist?
I don't need to specify. Those people who hallucinate that somebody has been called as Pappo on the panel can take that compliment or that rejection or whatever it may be for themselves.
Not required.
Nobody called Rahul Gandhi Pappo.
Not needed.
But whose journalistic talent has well passed its expiry date. I am talking about those people. I have not spoken anybody's name. Why are people taking it
not
personally?
Needed, yes, sir.
Now, to that same very ecosystem, okay, we can ignore the comment, no problem. Now, I want to only ask a simple question, that those who talk about Dalit rights across the country, for 70 years, the Dalits of Jammu Kashmir were deprived their rights. Those who talk about ladki hu lad sakti hu, the women of Jammu Kashmir were deprived their rights. Now after the removal of Article 370 and 35A, for the first time the rights are being given to the Valmiki Samaj. For the first time rights are being given to the women of Jammu Kashmir. Are they for it or are they against it? Those who talk about uniting this country, today the tricolor is fluttering from Lal Killa to Lal Chowk. Are they against it or are they for it?
Mr. Meka.
And they are standing in solidarity with those people who said 370 हटाया जाएगा तो लाल चौक पर तिरंगा नहीं लहरा पाएगा, हमारा कंधा भी नहीं मिलेगा तिरंगे को. And today those people are the symbols of unity who even oppose the song of Mahatma Gandhi, the bhajan of Mahatma Gandhi. They call even the bhajan of Mahatma Gandhi, which says ki Raghupati Raghav Raja Ram is communal. Today those people are lecturing us about inclusiveness. So you see, I cannot help those who are congenitally inclined towards hating the BJP. They can continue with their hatred, but today we can see the transformation that is taking place, and they must realize that.
Okay, I'm giving 30 seconds to Mr. Meka. 30 seconds. Can't hear you, Mr. Meka. Can't hear you. Maybe you've muted yourself.
Oh, okay. Now I unmuted myself. See, the point is, I don't want to get into a argument directly with anybody, but what Shehzad was indirectly talking about, those who talk about Dalit rights throughout the country, see, these are not the jabs we should be taking in.
Yeah.
So aren't we all committed to the equality in this country as per the constitution, as it was promised to every citizen? Then why do we have
Dalit lives matter? Did you go to Rajasthan
why do we have
Shehzad, let me make a point, Shehzad, let Mr. Meka make a point.
Where the Valmikis are deprived of their rights.
Why does it unset you so much when somebody talks about Dalit rights?
By a Muslim mob.
Why are you unsettled so much? Why are you rattled when somebody brings these issues out?
I am not upset at all. I'm saying, where were you when for 60 years under Article 370?
Okay, I think we're diverting 1 minute.
We were all the way here.
We were all the way here. Did not have
for
the
the
rights.
60 years, for the 75 years, and even before that. See, listen, one point we all need to agree is, in the entire history of the world, after so much suppression, Dalits and Shudras of India are the only people who are still doing the.
Okay, we're getting too much into caste now. Come on, we're getting too much into caste, Mr. Meka. We'll have a separate debate on that.
Right, I got to.
No, but I feel we're diverting. Only because I feel we're diverting. I'm bringing it back because I have last 1 minute. I want to give 30 seconds to Ratan Chadha, 30 seconds to Sandeep Ghosh. Okay. Now, 1 minute. Now, see. Okay, Ratan Chadha can go first. Mr. Ratan Chadha, because we're debating at the end of the week, right? One comment was made earlier this week or in the last few days. This leader called Bachchu Kadu in Maharashtra Assembly said stray dogs are in demand in Assam. They fetch good selling price of up to 8,000 rupees, and to control the population of stray dogs in the state, they should be dispatched to Assam to be killed in slaughterhouse for meat. Now, it's a very racist comment, one that was made by someone who's backing the government in Maharashtra, right? National integration is also when you stand up against such comments and make a point. But sadly in Assam, we are hearing, when this was brought up in the assembly, sadly in Assam or in Maharashtra, nobody objected to this. Right, Ratan Chadha, 30 seconds. Do you think there are areas, Ratan Chadha first on this comment, I'll give you 30 seconds, and Sandeep Ghosh, I want you to wrap up and tell us the areas where the BJP's found lacking on the issues of national integration, the gaps there. First up, Ratan Chadha, 30 seconds.
Can I comment?
1 minute, Ratan Chadha first up.
I don't want to waste time on trying to criticize somebody. I've always criticized any racist comment, any hateful comment of any party, irrespective of which party the person belongs to. I don't know from where Mr. Kadu comes, but I don't approve of that. That's point one. Point two, a lady talked about Modi Stadium. She forgets that Bharat Ratna was given to Nehruji and Indiraji when they were alive. And also, there are 470 plus institutions in India which are named after Nehru family. Secondly, when we say Mr. Modi is the election machine, she forgets that Modi ji has been from day one talking of one nation, one election, which opposition doesn't want. So you have election every 2-3 months, every 6 months, where opposition cries hoarse about democracy, but doesn't want to have one election. They also waste their resources. They also waste governing time, but they are not ready to go back to one nation. Secondly, Nehru's statement is not a problem. Rahul's statement is not a problem. The problem was he sought help from US and European Union. That was the problem.
Yes.
And so when Dalit president became made in India, these people ridiculed the whole idea. When tribal woman was made president, some people ridiculed in the opposition. So this is the problem. When you have this, you talk about DMK, fake news. It is not fake news. Their special man, Prashant Kishore, has said he's going to release videos of the violence against North Indians. And has it been stopped? Has it been imprisoned? No. But you're talking of that. DMK had to release a Hindi press statement saying hum aapko tang nahi karenge. That proves there is harassment, there is violence, and they are
running out of time, Ratanji.
Indian forces which are to be stopped.
Yeah, Sandeep Ghosh, last 30 seconds.
Niranjan, give me 30 seconds.
Sandeep Ghosh hasn't even started. Sandeep, I think you're muted.
Yeah, Niranjan, very quick ones. One, you asked, what can BJP do better? I personally feel BJP needs to rein in these fringe elements and people who talk like this. I think they have to come down much more harshly. It harms them, and these are distractions over there. Second point I want to quickly make, unfortunately today we're in a situation where in a polarized thing, no matter who says what, the other person doesn't listen or doesn't want to be convinced. But the people of India listen, and people of India are seeing what's the reality, and that's the reflection which you see today in the Northeast, you will see in other places, because they don't really get carried away by TV debates or Twitter debates. People know really, or for that matter, lectures at Cambridge or wherever. So that is something politicians must realize.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Sandeep Ghosh, those were okay, Manasri, 30 seconds to you. Exactly 30 seconds, and then we close.
No, we've run out of time. 15 seconds each. 15 seconds to Sushil, 15 seconds to Manasri. 15 seconds.
I don't need more. Yeah,
15. Yeah. Time starts now.
From integrating Sikkim to Goa to Daman-Diu to every other state into India is part of national integration. And when Junagadh princely state said that I want to get into Pakistan, it was the Indian then government which said annex Junagadh into India. So let's not say that other 30 ministers have not done anything. If Narendra Modi ji is building national highways, it's a great thing. And let's also attribute and contribute other prime ministers.
Yes, I want quite 10 seconds. By destroying Congress as a viable alternative in Indian democracy, you made it poorer. That is your contribution to our democracy. Today it has become unelectable. The leader itself has become some kind of an insurance policy for this government. So think about that.
Shehzad, Sandeep, Ratan Sharda, Sushil Pandit, Pankaj Sharma, Renu, Mr. Meka, Manasvi, thank you for joining us in this debate. Thank you very much.